Hello everyone, I'm Bablet Jonathan and this is the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks for joining us in our top stories. Close to 200 inhabitants of a Diki village in the southwest region of the country are now seeking refuge in Banga. They have been displaced by the worsening situation as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. Many of them, children, women and men, are now seeking refuge in Banga in the littoral region. And the third and last term of the 2017-2018 school year has started today, but many pupils and students in the two Anglophone regions of the country have not returned to school as a result of the unstable socio-political and security situation prevailing in those parts of the country. Thanks for staying with us. Five persons died in a road accident that occurred in Ombe, not far from the OPEC city of Limbe in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. Yesterday, the five victims were occupants of a Mercedes vehicle that lost control while overtaking another vehicle and ended up in a valley, and four of the victims died on the spot. Davidson Maimo reports from Limbe.
The images of the Mercedes-Benz speak for itself, as it is beyond repair, indicating no one could have survived the fatal accident. Eyewitness accounts say the Mercedes-Benz was on top speed when it lost control after an oncoming overtaking vehicle got into a track. For fear of a head-on collision, the driver dodged the vehicle and could not take control of the Mercedes. Even this single bar at the bridge did not have the stamina to hold the Mercedes, as it somersaulted over the bridge, killing four on board at the spot and one who gave up the ghost on the way to the hospital. Some are of the opinion that if the bridge had protectors, the vehicles could not have flied over the bridge.
Motor come another one come down, you don't understand. The man will be there for here, it will overtake. So this man will come, it will clear for corner bridge, you don't understand. Tire turn sute, you turn back brakes, tire turn, it will enter with it. If bridge be there with that place, that motor will fall valley, you don't understand.
The divisional officer for Tico subdivision, who descended to the scene as Songwe Clextus, described the accident as a tragic one.
The roads do not kill, we are the ones who kill ourselves. Investigations are going on to establish the real causes of the accident. It's a regrettable situation. You can see for yourself, 5 people. It is something that could have been avoided if people were more responsible in the way they use the highway. 3 of the deceased are said to be workers of the Buya Council, with one of them the market master of Munya Market, while the other 2 were friends. It is equally said the mayor for Buya Council, Ekema Patrick, lost 2 of his relatives in the tragic incident.
Another accident here in the economic capital, Douala, notably a fire incident that consumed several shops at the Marché de la Gare, New Bell, not far from the Douala Central Market. That was last night. Innocent Aze reports.
It was at about 8 p.m. Sunday that the flames generated. By the time firefighters arrived at the Douala Central Market, 3 shops were already being consumed.
My guys had to tackle the fire not to enable it go further. So in so doing, they had to do everything in their availability to deploy the materials and stop the fire from progressing.
The number of shops raised multiplied due to challenges encountered in ramming the steel doors.
Many people use iron doors in protecting the entrance to their stores, but they don't know that the iron doors are mostly obstacles to ourselves. This time we had to use another technique of forgetting about the iron doors and putting down by the walls, which was a bit easy for us. That's how we had to get to the stores and stop the progression of the fire.
Officials of the Electricity Production and Supplying Company were on the scene to control electric risk. Gendarmerie officials were also present to ensure security. Other traders and passers-by assembled watching the battle between the firefighters, and the flames finally put off from spreading.
And several businesses have simply been crumbled by that fire incident, as most of the shops affected by the fire incident at Marché de la Garde, New Bell, not far from the Douala Central Market, were simply reduced into ashes. Emerencia Konlak was there earlier today, and she brought back this report.
Close to 24 hours after the fire incident that affected 11 shops at Marché de la Gare in the Douala Central Market, the traders whose shops were visited by the inferno are still evaluating their loss. On this Monday morning, the rate of damage was still visible at this section of the market where rubber slippers are being sold. One of the affected traders revealed that her shop was consumed entirely. She further recounted how she was only informed about the incident on Sunday night.
Around 8 o'clock in the evening, they called me. They told me that the market is burning. There's fire in our side in the market. I saw that everything was down, as you people are seeing like this. Everything, all my store was down. I cannot recognize my store again.
Other business persons at Marché de la Gare say that their investments were consumed by the fire disaster. They are now wondering how to pick up the broken pieces.
I don't know how to start, even with my taxes that I paid. Everything got burnt like that. Everything with money that I sold, I kept money here. Everything got like that, finished, as you are seeing.
The market master at Marché de la Gare told reporters that the exact cause of the fire disaster is not known, but speculated that poor connection of cables could have triggered the incident. Those who were at the market on Sunday said there was no light during the day, so surely the light came back at night with high tension. Firefighters who were there on Sunday night when the fire broke out managed to stop the flames from extending into nearby shops. Fire incidents have been recurrent in markets in the city of Douala, and on several occasions the anarchical connection of cables has been blamed. This is not the first time that the Douala Central Market is hit by a fire disaster.
I told you in the headlines that the third and last term of the 2017-2018 school year began today, but many pupils and students in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the country will not be going back to school, and many of them are in areas where schools have not been operational, and others are among the close to 200 inhabitants of a Dike village in the Kumba Meme Division, southwest region of the country, who have fled their homes as a result of increasing violence as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. They are now seeking refuge in Banga in the littoral region of the country. Smanjikan Gebre has the details.
Day one of third term resumes effectively with students of government bilingual school Mbanga in the Mongo division answering present. While these students have already resumed academic activities, those of Ediki village in Meme division of the southwest region are not in class.
The reason that I'm not going to school is because in Ediki we had a problem. Just look at the students, they are suffering. We have nothing, no water, no food to eat, nothing. If not the people that are helping us here. Look at I'm here like this, I need to go to school, but there's no way. I can't go to school because they're just there suffering for nothing.
As we see, those of us who haven't gone to school, we are not fine.
So we're not fine.
They have one plea, and it's directed to Cameroon's government.
I'm begging for the government to help and save this situation. We are really suffering.
Over 100 inhabitants of Ediki village have been in Banga subdivision since Saturday. Amongst them, nursing mothers. It was around 11 a.m. Saturday when we were told to run away because gunmen have blocked the roads and the military is also coming. Shortly after that, we started hearing gunshots. We first of all took refuge in the bush, but due to the poor weather condition and with the little children, we struggled and took the train to Mbanga.
Before I take the other picking now, we enter for train, we carry from Mbanga.
Arriving at Mbanga in the Mungo division, the fleeing away population were housed at the party house where they are being catered for by local authorities in Mbanga.
We go bush, we won't come back.
We had just returned from the farm and about to cook when someone announced to us to run for our dear lives. As we went into our house to pack our things to escape, we started getting gunshots. Fortunately for us, when we thought we could hide in the bush, the train was coming. That was how we arrived in Mbanga.
Enter bush. We get a sound for train. I just shout, "Send me any man, he can't enter for train. We enter train, we run."
The frustrated population have just one message for the government, who have this far refused to see the need for a dialogue and believe there is no crisis in the two Anglophone regions.
With the big government, say make a help we, because Pekin there's a there for forest. We will there for yes, we never there fine, we not the police.
The population of Ediki landed in Mbanga since Friday night due to a gun battle between some unidentified gunmen and the military, after it was alleged that a military officer shot a commissioned motorcycle rider, indicating that he was a member of the separatist army.
Despite the situation prevailing in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, the third and last term of the school year is effective in other parts of the country east of the Mungo, and the Minister of Secondary Education, Dr. Nalova Pauline Lyonga, visited some schools in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, earlier today, and says the start of the 2017-2018 academic year, the last term of the year, is hitch-free. And of course, here's an extract of what she told Marcelin Gansop in Yaoundé.
It has been quite enlightening. We have seen different levels of schools, the very high standard like Collège Mouroct, the medium level such as the government bilingual schools, and some of those who are just starting, who have problems. But generally, I think one of the things that we set out to find is how ready the schools are for this term, which is also introducing, it's beginning the examination period. I think I was quite happy to find that most of the schools are ready. In fact, all the schools that we've seen today are quite ready, because they used some of the period of the holidays to continue to teach those who are in examination classes. So I'm quite happy about that. I mean, we could see also that there are schools that are trying to combat the problems that have come as a result of the crisis in the northwest and the southwest. They have had to increase the registration. The schools, they are very full, but as I told them, there's just a limit. They cannot solve all the problems, but we're very happy that they are conscious of the fact that there will be many children from northwest and southwest who will be coming to Yaoundé, and we really congratulate them for that sense of nationhood, of being able to combat what problems are coming. And as I said, we are happy that they are so ready to get the children to school. We are expecting that they will be very happy, they will be very ready also to get the children to sit for the examinations, the GC and back, that are coming, so that they should discourage all the naysayers to schools, those who say no schools, they should try to encourage the children and the parents, not to listen to that. Having made all this effort, it will be really unnecessary if they don't take the children to schools. I think our government has done a lot to ensure that every child goes to school.
Traders at Marché Jurai in Bonneberry, Douala 4 subdivision have gone furious over the stinking nature of the market. We have huge garbage heaps that are displayed just everywhere around the market, and now the traders are complaining that they are contracting illnesses from the garbage which the debt collection company Zakam has abandoned for over 6 months. Details in this report by Innocent Azi.
Marché Jurai is one of the biggest and busiest markets in Bonneberry, Douala 4 subdivision. Waste production is high, but efforts chipped in by garbage collectors is minimal. Traders battle with the heaps of sewage, which make the market disgusting.
It's about 6 months that we have been suffering with this type of thing.
Flies from the decayed garbage visit exposed fish, meat and other perishable goods meant for consumption. Even local restaurants are buried in the mess. Many, like this woman, claim to have contracted cough as a result of inhaling the unpleasant odor emanating from this rotten garbage. Others complain of respiratory difficulties.
People are sick. People are in the hospital.
They point accusing fingers at Isakam, the garbage collection company. They also believe the government delegate has abandoned them and should come to their aid.
We are begging the government to see into our problem and to come and help us.
The grumbling traders fume at the trash in front of their goods, reciting prayers of immediate intervention.
The population of Nomayos in the Nyong and Kele Division Central Region of the Republic of Cameroon are calling on governments to compensate them for their farmlands that were destroyed for the construction of the Douala-Yaoundé dual carriage highway. And the senior division officer of the Nyong and Kele Division and the divisional officer of Mantom visited the construction site to calm down the angry inhabitants. Details in this report compiled by Rabiatu Aliou.
Inhabitants of Nomayos in the Nyong-Aikele Division, Central Region of Cameroon, expressed dissatisfaction over non-compensation. For 3 years now, their farms were destroyed and they were displaced with pretext to construct the Douala-Yaoundé autoroute. Government has failed to compensate them as promised. They are urging the government to adhere to its promise. The senior divisional officer of Nyong-Aikele Division, Peter Tiende, accompanied by the divisional officer of Matum subdivision, later visited the construction site to calm the disgruntled population. The senior divisional officer of Nyong-Aikele Division assured the inhabitants and cautioned the Chinese company in charge of constructing the auto route not to give anything to the inhabitants because the government will offer them hectares of land and money as compensation by September 2018. He pleads with the inhabitants to let the Chinese company continue with the construction. While awaiting favorable changes, the inhabitants who look frustrated have been compelled to manage with the poor state of roads for the time being and cope with the new farming locations.
That's it for the first segment of this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Coming up in Talking Point, we shall discuss the worsening situation in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned, with focus on the close to 200 inhabitants of a Diki village in Kumba who have been displaced by increasing violence, and they are now seeking refuge in Banga in the littoral region. Stay with us. Our guest in this edition of the news is Davidson Ate. He's a member of the civil society. You're welcome.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good evening, televiewers.
Now, government has continued to maintain that the situation in the two Anglophone regions of the country is returning to normalcy. Recently, we had some top military officials in Bamenda who said the same thing, that things were returning to normalcy during the visit of the Army Chief of Staff General Zemeka to the region. But now we have the displacement of close to 200 persons from Ediki village who are now seeking refuge in neighboring Mbanga in the littoral region.
Jonathan, as we have often said here, what the officials are saying is not what is visible on the ground. The situation is not getting any better. In fact, it's worsening. And the sooner the officials, the powers that be, realize this and start taking actions to improve, the better. The particular situation in Ediki was completely unexpected, at least for some of us who are observing. And for those who know Ediki, it's a quiet, out-of-the-way village, although it's on the main highway to Kumba. There's absolutely no reason why things should have gotten bad out there. But it is the fear, and on my part, I believe it's the fear that the army is putting in these people that is making them move. When you stay in your house and you hear gunshots, you have no choice. You just start moving. And the way things are, believe you me, if everybody keeps the stand they are keeping, things will get even worse than it is today.
And from the description of what happened before they left their villages, the description of what happened by some of the inhabitants of Ediki village, there is an indication of increasing confrontation, violent confrontations, armed confrontations between some unidentified individuals who are today referred to as secessionists and even terrorists by members of government and defense and security forces.
That's a story that personally I think needs to be verified. I would not see the interest in this terrorist or in this secessionist attacking villagers. There's absolutely nothing for them to gain by attacking them. If they are really who they say they are, fighting for separation or their independence, they need those very villagers to protect them. And I would really find it difficult to believe that they are the ones who go attacking the villagers.
Now, when you look at this huge number of persons displaced in a very short period of time, just some few hours, and they had to trek through the bushes to get to a safer area, what does that suggest as far as this crisis is concerned?
Well, I think it's the effect of mass fear. When you see the one man move because he believes there is insecurity, there are gunshots, the others just follow. Nobody wants to stay behind to say I'll face the gun or I'll face the consequences, no matter from what direction it came. It doesn't surprise me that they all decided to move to where they do not know. I don't think they really believe that in Banga life will be much better for them, or that the government or somebody was waiting for them out there with open hands. But the fear of remaining, the fear of being shot, and the news or the word they have heard from other areas, I think just comforts them that they should move and at least stay in safety. The trouble is now the society has these people on their hands from all angles, feeding, schooling, shelter, and why don't we just come back and look for solutions?
Is this not an indication of worse days to come?
Yes, it is very much if the things are like this. I think what the powers need to be, that the powers that be need to realize is that really the people are not happy with their lives. They are not happy with the bit that has been dealt them. And there is a feeling now, the way things are going on, that comforts a lot of people in their thinking that the government doesn't want their welfare. That if they're serious, this is not the way they would have handled things. That the answer to whatever the problems are, whatever they are saying, is not sending in military people, it's not shooting them, it's not depriving them. It's good for the Army General to go there, but this is an Army General and his business is to shoot, his business is to fight. He's not going there as a peace loving somebody, being friendly to the people, to children and so on. Those are not the people to go there. The government should send people who go there and talk comforting words, assuring the people of their safety, of their security, but sending in guns. And these guys, I bet you they have been well trained. They come from EMEAC and all the military training centers. I don't think they taught them anything about being nice and...
However, the Army Chief of Staff General Zemeka, while in the Northwest region, urged the elements on the ground to be polite, to be to develop a cordial relationship with the people. And now this number of persons who have moved from Ediki to Mbanga now living in very unpleasant situations. They have abandoned everything back at home, and some of them, we saw them sleeping in a place not really comfortable.
They are taking the risk, there is the danger. But when you send the Army General to go and talk to his soldiers and tell them to be nice to civilians, I'd like to see what part of the military training manual tells them how to be nice, how to be civil with the population. I think that's the work of the police. And even then, in the context of Cameroon, the police are not even, they're equally feared. The gendarmes are all trained as military men before they become policemen. But certainly the general talking to his soldiers in a war situation, at the war front, to act like civil when even they themselves are being killed, I don't think it's just blowing hot air. What they need is to organize the civil society. Somebody started approaching or directing his speech, I think it's Atanganji, to the chiefs and asking them to plead with his people. That is the beginning of a solution. But except that that solution is coming from the wrong man. For somebody who does not even believe that there is a problem, who still doesn't believe that there is a problem, who doesn't see that the Anglophones or the people who are suffering there on the ground have a complaint to make about the government, I don't think those are the people who would want to listen to that kind of message coming from him. I have a feeling that he's not serious about it. As for the suffering of the people, Cameroon is a gentle society. I'm hoping that the people in Banga, they will be a bit disturbed in their daily lives. They will see more people than they would like to. They will probably have to take in some people to be kind to them. But it's a situation that if it's not looked into quick, fast, and sensibly, will only get worse.
And many of the people are pupils and students who are supposed to go back to school today for the third and last term of the year, but they didn't go.
Yeah, I think the thing of the schools, especially in the rural areas, the real remote areas in northwest and southwest, I think for a couple of years now, it's been a no deal. I think they've lost a lot as far as schooling is concerned. Until they start looking at the solution to this thing, I don't see a solution. I don't see them having any way out.
Is this another catastrophic year?
Well, them not going to school is not good, but it's not the end of it. It's not the end of their lives. I think if a good solution can be found, if peace can be brought back, people can always catch up. For those of us who witnessed what happened to Biafra, which was as catastrophic as any of us ever had in our lifetime, I think the Igbos the Anambra states and Imo states and so on have picked up their life together. Some of the people did badly on the long run, but I think they've caught up in education. This can be remedied once peace is coming, and if it comes in proper terms.
And government response to all of these have proven unsuccessful.
No, the government is not making any response. They are not preparing things in the right way. I don't think there is a spokesman or there is anybody representing a reasonable solution to the problem. Cameroon is terribly centralized, and unless instruction comes from a center of power on what to do, it might come someday, but it will take a very long time, and there will be a lot of misery and disaster before that day comes.
And while there are hundreds or close to 200 persons from Ediki who are now seeking refuge in neighboring Bangado, they are still in the country. There are thousands of Cameroonians who are suffering and dying in neighboring Nigeria.
And the government still does not admit it. They behave as if either they are not Cameroonians or it's not happening. It's the famous ostrich situation where he digs his head in the sand, and because he doesn't see, nothing else is happening.
Now, what should be done as far as these close to 200 persons are concerned, and others, of course?
Difficult to say. As I say, they've got people who at least should welcome them hospitably. There's only the government that can bring a long-lasting solution to it by dialogue, inclusive dialogue. Let's listen to everybody. Whatever decisions come out of it, we're in a democracy. It's a government of the people, by the people, for the people. We're not in an imperial situation. We do not have a king, and I think the head of state himself says it, and he's proud of it, and he says he would like to be remembered as a person who brought democracy. Let's have democracy, the Abraham Lincoln version.
Thanks a bunch, Davidson Ate, for accepting to be a guest in this edition of the news.
My pleasure, Jonathan.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtain on this edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye.